This episode of Made in America is brought to you by America's Inventor Lady and Home Talk USA. Home Talk is a proud member of the King's Broadcasting Network, which has been bringing you the best in home-based innovation since 1998.
Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for being with us for this episode of Made in America.
This segment is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Hey, welcome, America. This is the Made in America Hour, Made in America, broadcasting all across this great, great country of ours. I want to welcome all of you. And I am the Cajun contractor, Michael King, and I'd like to welcome my co-host, my partner in crime, the inventor lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Miss Rita, how you doing?
I'm great. It's so much fun to be here today. And, I get so excited and energy level goes up, an adrenaline rush every time we start an hour.
Well, I love it when we can roll over the show from Home Talk USA to Invent America and Invent America into Made America. It just kind of isolate our topic from all these great companies that want to get their product on the market to the Made in America of all the companies that are providing and getting their product and technology in the U.S. market and trying to help them and our audience to understand that if they go to a box store or a hardware store or your favorite home improvement outlet, and you pick up a product that says made in the United States, we like to discuss the features and benefits of how it affects the economy when you purchase American products with American entrepreneurship and American, technology. It's just a great combination because there is an effect when you buy American, right, Rita?
Oh, absolutely. There's an amazing trickle-down effect, and I know we hear that on a regular basis, but you buy a product that was made in America, all right, it goes, the resources go back to that company that made it, to the worker who was doing the work, to the home that they bought, to the children that they are raising. So when you buy that one product off an e-commerce site or off a store shelf that says made in America, yeah, there's a huge trickle-down effect. They might have to go out and buy some gasoline, or they need to buy some groceries, or they need to, make a payment on, some hospital care for a child. You have no idea how much of an impact it has on our economy to buy made in America.
Yeah, the local infrastructure depends on, it's a proven fact. I've did studies on this. We've taken our radio broadcasts on the road to our manufacturers. I've been to our sponsors' plants. I've seen the infrastructure, again, of the local communities when products are designed and made, fabricated, distributed, sold in that local community. And it's amazing, look, let's face it. We can go back to the industrial age, Detroit, Chicago. Just go visit these big cities, these industrial cities, and you got the big manufacturing plants there, the old school plants. But I need to tell my audience out there, it's not these big cities that have these plants anymore. It's the local small communities, because these states realize that when they offer these tax incentives to get these manufacturers in these low-end communities, in Mississippi, Louisiana. We just picked up Louisiana. We just picked up the big from Apple. The chip is going to be, in Mississippi, Alabama, South. And what it does to these local communities, their tax base, And of course, the tax incentive, these big corporations, well, let's just face it. I don't want to get into politics, and we understand what's going on here across this country about the tax base, leaving certain, states. But at the end of the day, it's only going to benefit the little communities, and it's going to bring these little communities to shine, their education base, their financial base, like you just said it,
Yeah.
their local income, Rita, it's
Well,
amazing, right?
And there are so many little hidden treasures of manufacturing in America, and people don't realize it. There was one company I talked to, the father, now the son is the one running it, but they make for all of the athletic gear, clothing, they make the strip, that three-colored strip, and they send these things. They do for NFL, for all of the big groups, and they send them all over the world to other groups. Tennis, basketball. They're making that one three-colored strip that goes on all the clothing, and they do it right here in America. And they send it out. It goes on clothing all over the world, but
Yeah.
we're doing it right here in our backyard.
Yeah, I'm going to get off the subject just for a second because I think this fits exactly what we're talking about. I don't know if you knew, Rita, but up until about 3 or 4 years ago, New Orleans was called Hollywood South. And what our legislators and our legislation is that we gave 100% tax credit to movie industries to come to Louisiana and make their movies. Well, Louisiana, New Orleans was averaging 400 to 500 movies a year.
Wow.
I mean, because and I can remember what it did to my construction business when I had to build these stages and and do these massive tax breaks. And a lot of times these movies, that little tax break can mean the difference of making a profit and not making a profit. But the point I'm trying to make is it's kind of the same thing. They came in off these tax incentives, and New Orleans became Hollywood South. Well, the word got out across the country, and they wanted to get some of this apple pie, and they followed. And then, unfortunately, our liberal legislators wanted to know how it was it justified to offer these tax credits? And then it went from 100% to 50% to 30%. Well, as you can tell, there's no movies being made in New Orleans anymore because of what happened. But the point what I'm trying to make is when you offer an incentive to people that can provide jobs, regardless if you're making something or you are making a movie, it's still the same premises of what you're doing. When you offer this, it's a proven fact what can happen to your community. And then, like you said, it trickles down to everything, the electricians, the carpenters, the legal, the insurance, it goes on and on. It's the same theory, right, Rita?
Absolutely. And it's wonderful to watch that. I know that there's a big plant not too far from where I am, and I'm hoping that I can get over there and do an interview, but they've got thousands of people who work there, and it's huge.
Yeah.
And it's been there for a long time. I love being able to find these stories where, it's been passed down to another generation, and there are actually a lot of them in America. So when you want to buy made in America, all you got to do is go look.
Yeah, and it's a lot easier to understand because the packaging is now being different. The labeling now is being different. The requirements are now starting to crack down on the requirements. So the American consumer's starting to understand exactly what is, if a product's made, assembled, or, what's the situation. But the point is, anything you can do that can fabricate or, the products themselves in the United States, it's a start because it's going to help your local community.
Absolutely.
And, the educational base, tax base, infrastructure, so on and so forth, And that's what we try to highlight on Made in America, and have all people like Kevin Cody coming on and to talk about what's going on and giving us the experiences and a little background on how important it is to make product and jobs in this country. And I tell you what, I think our current administration is doing a fantastic job in bringing this and bringing the American know-how. Because let's face it, when American look, let's talk about making in America, but let's talk about the ingenuity and the craftsmanship, which is often overlooked. We know that there's not a craftsmanship in the world that can compete with the American factory assembly or the factoring, the factor of the construction. You know what I'm saying? The people that put this together.
Absolutely. The
Yeah,
quality control is so much higher. And, yes, the cost of the good is generally higher as well, but you get something that's going to last for 10 years instead of, 6 months. And
yeah,
that it's no longer when it's made here, it is not engineered for obsolescence.
yeah.
You've got a better quality of product.
Well, I can remember that big box store with that big W, and I can remember when that big guy, uh, you know, uh, promoted U.S. products and the quality, and then all of a sudden, when they decided to offshore, the quality of their goods was bad.
Well, and
Cheap and bad.
that
Cheap
leads
and
me
bad.
into, my next
Yeah,
guest because it's
yeah,
starting to come back.
yeah.
That big store is looking at making things better, promoting American made. And so when I visit with Kevin, he's going to talk about that
All right, Rita,
relationship and how it's improved.
I have to cut you off. We got to take a short break. All right, we got to take a short break. We have to come back, pay some bills here. This is the Made America right here on the King's Broadcasting Network, Home Talk USA Radio Network. We'll be right back with our first guest, Kevin Cody. Will be in the green room. Well, we're getting me out of the green room right now, but he's waiting to go. We'll be right back. Yay!
This segment is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Hey, welcome back. This is the Made in America show on the Home Talk USA Radio Network. I'm the engaging contractor Michael King, along with my partner in crime, the inventor lady herself, Miss Rita Crumpton. Rita, who's our guest this segment? And who's our sponsor?
Well, let's start with
Let's
the
do our
sponsor.
sponsors. We got to pay some bills. Yeah.
That's right. That's right. Absolutely. Our sponsor for this segment is Product Quick Start, Noah McNeely. If you are looking at trying to get a prototype done or a manufacturing run, Noah McNeely with Product Quick Start. He's the guy. And my guest right now is Kevin Cody. He has watched things, kind of change over the last few years in, selling products at Walmart, getting Made in America products at Walmart, and he actually has an e-commerce store. Well, he will help inventors, with new product lines, be able to sell through and to the American consumer. So, Kevin, with FLI Products, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it. It's great to
So,
be here again.
FLI Products, what is it?
We are a small company, really, that comes alongside other small companies because of the experience we have in the marketplace to be able to help them bring their products to market and in a variety of ways through a variety of channels, either e-commerce, retail, wholesale, whatever their needs are and whatever their directions are, we can help them get it done.
So you've been, you've seen a lot over the years. You've seen a lot of really cool products. The way things have changed over the last 15, 20 years in just marketing and sales. I mean, shoot, when you and I were in high school, nobody had ever heard of e-commerce. Shoot, when our kids are little, nobody had ever heard of e-commerce. And now, if you're not doing e-commerce, you're missing a lot of sales. So how do you see things change?
Well, e-commerce is becoming a bigger and bigger portion of the entire, if you will, retail picture. It is, for Amazon, obviously, everybody knows that name, and Walmart.com, everybody knows those names, Home Depot and Lowe's and all of the other Best Buy and all of the other retailers have begun to develop a very strong ecosystem around what Amazon built, which was the fastest way to get product to consumers. and the most efficient way, the least expensive way. And that has been a catch-up game for a lot of retailers, but it's rapidly closing.
So, as we talk about made in America, back in the early days, Walmart did a better job with made in America, and then it kind of
Mhm.
stepped away from that, and now they're starting to come back. What has that been like?
Well, back in the 80s and 90s, Walmart stood for that. That was their mantra, and they really supported US made manufacturers. And then, as China really became a powerhouse of manufacturing, an awful lot of that migrated, an awful lot of manufacturing migrated to China because of the reduced costs and the ability for particularly companies that were purchased in leveraged buyouts to be able to immediately see uh, cost savings and profit increase overnight. And as China became stronger and stronger as a manufacturing hub, they learned how to emulate the US processes and improve on them, frankly, and have continued to. And today, as we have seen, particularly in the last 6 years or so, 7 years, the appetite for taking products from China and from other countries, for that matter, has begun to wane. And a large part of that, I think, is really in part because of the fuel costs, because of just the handling costs and the increase supply, labor, everything that people have run into roadblocks with.
And so you actually, have gone to and had products that you represented picked up by Walmart. What's the process like for, people out there that are thinking about it's like, oh, I'd love to be selling in Walmart, and they've got a product that is made in America. What do they do?
You know, the real crux of it is you've got to figure out a way to get in front of the buyer. And that's not an easy task. Obviously, you can connect with people on LinkedIn. You can connect with representatives, manufacturers' representatives that might be in a local marketplace and keyed into Walmart. But today, especially for US manufacturers, Walmart has created a program over the last 8 years, I think it is, called Open Call. And that is a commitment from Walmart to grow their US manufacturing footprint significantly over the next, I think it's a plan through 2030 to grow it significantly. And it is beginning to come back. And Open Call is a way to do that for small companies to be able to rise above the requirements that were put on manufacturers in the past to qualify to become suppliers, have now had the opportunity to open that up a little bit and to experience Walmart in a different way.
Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about those details when we come back. We're going to get teed up here to go and take a break and pay some bills. If you know anybody out there who is inventing, going through the process, manufacturing, have them get in touch. We'd love to have them on the radio. And if they're made in America, we would love to have them on this show. So in the meantime, you know what? Go out there, listen to us on the radio, get checked in with us. We have Inventor Roundtable meetings twice a month. And we have got some really wonderful people that help make this radio show a reality. Oh, yeah, it's made in America, just like some other really cool products. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back after we go and pay some bills.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. inventorsroundtable.org.
Thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Made in America. It is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Bereska. The law offices have been bringing corporate level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. So for all of your legal inventing needs, you can trust rpblawoffices.com. My guest for this hour is Kevin Cody with FLI Products and getting products into Walmart. So Kevin, what are some of the products that you've gotten into, and what's the criteria for this?
So Open Call, as I said, started, I think, about 8 years ago. And what we have presented to the buyers was essentially a product, right? And our first product that we brought to market for Walmart was something that we had tremendous success on through, particularly through COVID, called the Cord Safe. And it's just a simple product, basically, that encapsulates the connection between an extension cord and whatever else it's plugged into. And it prevents it from getting wet. It prevents it from tripping breakers. It prevents it from getting pulled apart. It's a pretty simple product, but as you know, Walmart sells a lot of extension cords.
Yeah.
and a lot of different lighting products, as well as string lights for both spring and winter, the holidays. And so it's a product they need and their customers need. And that's what we started selling them with. And it's just progressed from there. That Cord Safe product has been made and is still made here in the U.S. through a company called a manufacturing partner of ours called Rogers Manufacturing that does injection mold products. And the same company does a product that we have called Blade Guard, and it encapsulates a knife blade. And so it is something that just snaps on a knife blade. And if you're storing it in your drawer or you're taking it out to bring to a picnic, it's a safer way of carrying a knife blade.
Cool. So what is the criteria then for getting something labeled Made in America? You can't just, say, oh, let's just stick a Made in America label on this.
Yeah, Walmart actually has, as part of their Open Call anyway, a unique requirement, and either has to be made in the USA or mostly assembled in the USA. It doesn't have to necessarily be 100% produced in the USA. Most of our products, I think about today, 85% of our products are made entirely in the USA. But the Blade Guard and the Cord Safe were both made here. And we're always developing new products with our manufacturing partners to be able to do that. So their requirements, and if I'm answering your question correctly, I think their requirements are not super stringent, but it's got to be mostly made in the USA.
Well, and we've run into some of that where it's like, made in the USA has got to be made in the USA, and then assembled in the USA is using assembled in the USA. So the buyer knows.
Yeah.
But, it's where all right, so we've got, our listeners out there and they say, okay, let me go into Walmart and see what I can see as far as, Made in America. How do they find it?
Everything's got to be labeled. And you're just going to pick up a label off of a shelf and it's going to be, are you saying like a consumer walking in the store?
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's got to be just picking up the label and looking at it. And unfortunately, that's sometimes hard to discover. But most products that have made in America are proud to do it and display made in USA on the product somehow, some way.
And I know that, different stores do things, change things around just to make you look a little bit harder. But I've actually been in the one that I go to most often and seen a category in the store that says Made in America. And so,
Hmm.
everything in that section is made in America. And I think that's often when they move, awesome when they move things around.
Yeah.
And you can actually then go and browse and know that everything in that cut off area is made in America.
Yeah, you can't find that really on very many websites. There's been, or in the stores, there's been talk of that happening for a long time. But I think the challenges that an awful lot of the retailers have is policing it and being able to consistently police it. And there's an awful lot of people who will obviously try to circumvent the definitions of what is made in the USA versus assembled in the USA and everything else. And so I think from a liability standpoint, oftentimes retailers are hesitant to really embrace that. And frankly, from a manufacturing standpoint, most of them have their own private label products, many of which come from someplace overseas.
There you go. That is for sure. So what has been your biggest challenge in working with Walmart?
Mm. The real challenges are it takes a village to do business with Walmart. So you've got to have people that have skill sets in different areas. And as e-commerce has become stronger and stronger, sort of the default has been, well, why don't we put it in online first and then see how it performs before you put it in the store? And actually, that's not a bad thing. Not only for Walmart, but also for the company that's selling it. And largely because it's a challenge to get used to how to do business with Walmart. And doing it through e-commerce is a way to sort of put your toe in the water and begin to understand the processes and controls that they have in place for efficiency and to build around all of that so that you're ready for prime time when you can be.
Yeah, and back in the day, all right, when I was, really working to help inventors get and say, oh, I'm going to sell in Walmart. It's like, we learned, they learned real quick that Walmart is a tough nut to crack. It's a consignment shop. It's basically a
Mhm.
big consignment shop. They take product. They don't really, they don't buy it. They take it. They pay you when it's sold. And for a lot of inventors, that time frame can be really tough to handle. But, just making sure that the barcode is in the right spot, that the
Mhm.
package actually weighs what you say it's going to, weigh. I had
Mhm.
inventors that would actually get an invoice after they'd sold 10,000 because the barcode was in the wrong spot.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, those are all part of the policies that Walmart has that are extremely stringent. And you can lose your shorts overnight if you're not paying attention to all of the requirements that they have to do business with them. And it's all in the sake of efficiency. They're a huge company that delivers a lot of product as quickly as possible. Today on e-commerce, Walmart Plus, you can get a product to your house in a matter of a couple hours, delivered not from a drone, but from a person.
Dude, that's funny. Well, COVID changed a lot of things. All right, it's the idea that some of those companies, really did go to the e-commerce. That was a big change then, to home delivery and being because people couldn't get out. And where I live out here in the forest, if I can't buy it online, we're not gonna have it because there's no place to go get it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, as
And
you know, Newport or Walmart in Newport, Tennessee, is a place where it's a hub for families from 30,
everything,
40,
yeah.
50 miles around.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're going to go and pay some bills right now. Everybody, stick with us. We're going to be right back with Kevin Cody and some more Made in America.
True Up, easiest way to hang your pictures. We all know how stressful picture hanging can get. True Up comes with everything you need to level and hang pictures with no damage and no mess. Just peel, apply the adhesive to the back of the True Up mount and press firmly. Remove the remaining adhesive. Use the level and press and hold for 3 to 5 seconds to attach the True Up mount to your wall with a strong hold. The True Up frame adapter is compatible with most frames on the market. Apply the adhesive strip to the adapter, stick, and your frame hangs easily on the wall mount. This lets you adjust your picture side to side for perfect placement every time. The possibilities are limitless, and it's easy on your walls. Picture hanging can be truly a one-person job. True Up, the future of hanging is here.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Made in America. Kevin, it is a pleasure to have you on today talking about how Walmart is shifting now to focus, at least some on different types of Made in America products. The majority of them, at least from what I've seen, are, home gadgets. All right. Life's better in the kitchen. Life's better, in the yard. Life's better, wherever with your pets, your kids, your cars, whatever. Is that what you're seeing?
They're really across all categories. Of course, electronics are still largely made in other countries, but obviously food is huge. I think it's 60+% of Walmart's business. And more food is being made here in the US and a lot of the participants that I've seen over the last couple of years are in pet food and people food, and seasonings and spices and a variety of other things that beverages, huge change, as you know, in the beverage industry, with non-alcoholics and all the different types of sodas that are available today that were never available before. Coffees, all the different kinds of beverages are just exploding, it seems like, in the US.
So, and it's exciting to hear because, they're having, a place where so many people go and they've got, then it's like, yeah, it was grown right here in America. It was made right here in America.
Mhm.
It's wonderful. And you told us earlier that, you did learn to deal with the big guy with a committee. So what does someone do when they say, I've got a product, I want to sell it, it's not made in America or not made in America? How do they go about dealing with the big guy?
I would do your homework, make sure that you've got everything buttoned down from top to bottom in terms of the product quality, the manufacturing capacity, the packaging, pricing, and everything else that's going to appeal to a buyer at Walmart or any other retailer for that matter. You need to make sure that you have your competition buttoned down and understand how you're competing for that shelf space and the ability to tell your story in a matter of a couple seconds when somebody's passing down the aisle. Those things are all really, really critical. And then you align yourself with people that are close to that retailer, one way or another.
You said several things right in there that I would like to, go back around to. One is price points. When you're
Yeah.
putting a product out there, the price point is critical. And I get so many inventors that they don't understand the price point. If you've got a $10 retail product, you've got to have it landed in the US, packaged and ready to go for $2. They
Mm-hmm.
don't get the multiple of 5. And, yeah, there might be some variances in different industries with that, but pretty much you got to calculate the multiple of 5. Walmart's going to sell it for $10. They're going to buy it for 5. The distributor bought it from you for $2.50, and your 50 cent margin there that you make on it is where you pay for all your marketing, your attorneys, your accountants, and everybody else. And for a
Yeah.
lot of inventors, that formula of the multiple of 5 is a deal breaker. So what
Yeah.
do? You've got to learn to make more, because you get to the multiple of 5 by making 50,000 units, not 5,000 units.
That's for sure. And the strategy for developing brand awareness is become so totally different with e-commerce, because people are spending upwards of 15 to 20, 25% of the product value on advertising sponsorships on e-commerce. That's huge.
That's huge.
Advertising used to be a 2, 3, 4% budget.
Yeah.
Now, and that's 20% of retail.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, when they put a fancy name on it, it's like you got to pay the public now to know what that name means.
Absolutely.
Because it's not an instinct that they're going to say, oh, this is going to keep my cords from getting tangled up.
Yep, the last thing you want to do is fall on the second or third page, because you'll never be found.
I know. When somebody tells, well, it's, the name of the product starts with anything lower than an M, rename it, because you need to get above the alphabet middle.
Yeah, that's for
Oh,
sure.
shoot. It's funny, because I'll get somebody that says, how did you even come up with that spelling? That doesn't even make any sense. And it's like, oh, well, and it's like, nobody knows that exists. Come up with a better tagline.
Mm-hmm. It has to be some recognizable in some way for its use. And it should be less than 2 syllables. And it should be something that everybody's going to remember.
Yeah. Also, people, it's like when you're getting ready to name your product, all right, you get a nice bottle of wine, a 6-pack of beer, you sit around the table with your friends and say, what would you Google to find this? And you start throwing the names out there, and then you pick the ones that make the most sense.
That's really important, because in the world of AI today, particularly with ChatGPT and Grok and Claude and all the
Gemini,
rest, they're all being searched by problem solution. They're not being searched by some individual keyword anymore. And so you need to be able to develop all of the scenarios that people might be looking for as your product as a solution for. And so having all of the questions and answers to how your product might be used, even ways that you would never have imagined, is really critical.
It is. Thank you so much for being with us today. I am always grateful to have you on. You've got so much information about all of this. Everyone, enjoy your week, and join us next week for another episode of Made in America, because it is Inventing 2.0. We see it, we make it right here in the USA. Have a wonderful week, everyone.